Hey local yokels, Christmas is coming. That means it is rib roast season. Every year, ton of questions, ton of concerns. Man, I want to buy a rib roast. I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. Oh, I'd be sick to death if I ruined that expensive piece of meat. Your rib roast looks so beautiful. I want to cook one, I just don't know how. That's why we're making this video for you. So got Chef Adam West with us from Local Yokel Barbecue and Grill. The guys bringing you all the amazing food you're loving in our new restaurant. And we're going to walk you guys through the simple rib roast. Everyone's always intimidated by the rib roast. It's not that hard. The first thing you need to do is start with a great piece of meat. Today we've got a 3-bone Wagyu rib roast here, and Adam and company over at the store, not this Adam, the other Adam, have already prepared this thing, what we call the easy carve method. So we've already cut this down and tied it, so it's ready for you. This is going to be a 3-bone towards the small end of the rib roast, so a little fattier. Some people like a little bit firmer, leaner roast, so we'll take that off the big end. This is probably a nice 3.5 to 4 pound roast here. This is our Wagyu. We have Wagyu, we'll have the all-natural Angus, and we'll also have a few grass-fed roasts, which you're going to need to call like right now. But we'll have plenty of Wagyu and plenty of Angus for you. Lots of marbling in the Wagyu. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This is amazing. You should actually make it a once-a-year thing. So this is our pretty typical roast for your family of 4 or 5, maybe a couple of folks over. You had 6 people over. If you need a bigger roast, we've got those, but we're trying to focus on the size of roast that most people cook. There again, small end, cut, tied, beautiful rib roast for you guys for Christmas. Adam, why don't you tell us how you're going to prepare this roast? A little bit different, most better than what a lot of people do, and your preferred method.
So what we're going to focus on right now is making it a lot easier, and again, demystifying prime rib, right? So this is something that I've done in the past to create kind of a foolproof method of creating the beautiful rosy center right at medium rare. My biggest thing is, of course, getting it to that super tender but not undercooked temperature, right? So about 125, 130 degrees max is where I want to focus on. The number one thing on this, guys, is even cooking, and the only way you can do that is with a room temperature piece of meat. So again, going with the more foolproof set it and forget it method would be to pull the prime rib out of the refrigerator before you go to work that day, right? Do it earlier in the morning. Think ahead. You're planning your meal. If you're going to have a prime rib on Friday night, come Thursday night, you're purchasing it from Local Yokel. You take it home, you pull it out of the fridge in the morning, and it's going to sit on your kitchen counter for several hours, and it's okay. Don't worry.
It's okay. Nobody's going to die.
Right. So the idea is to create kind of equilibrium, right? You want a nice, even cooking temperature throughout the entire process.
You can see this, the fat's all loose on this and shiny. This rib roast is at room temperature. It's going to be food safe, because we're going to take it up to a food safe temperature.
So first thing we're going to do is take some, again, room temperature butter, and I'm going to make a crust, basically a butter crust. You've got really nice fresh rosemary and thyme, rough chopped, fresh garlic, salt, and pepper. Keep it simple. Let the actual meat flavor come through, right? So I'm going to put some softened butter into a bowl. We're going to hit it with about 3 tablespoons of chopped garlic and about 2.5 tablespoons of your favorite herb. I mean, you can use parsley, you can use thyme, sage, rosemary, whatever you like. For this, we're going to use both rosemary and thyme equal parts. And then into the bowl with about a tablespoon or so of kosher salt, as well as fresh cracked pepper. Again, these are all pretty much eyeball because I don't know how big your roast is. This is what I'm using for this particular one. And I'm just going to kind of smash it all together to create a really nice butter crust that will completely cover that roast and melt into some amazing meat jus in the bottom of the pan.
Nice. Now this is different. I've not done the butter crust before, so this is, I'm excited to see how this comes out.
So again, going back to the keep it simple method, right? Fewer ingredients and allow those ingredients to actually speak, develop their own flavor, develop their own characteristics. You know, you can certainly put some kind of weird, you know, way out there spice on there, and it'll taste like the spice. We want to taste the meat. We want to highlight the flavor of the meat, and we don't want to mask it with anything that's overpowering. So again, equal parts of everything, and then let the butter kind of be the carrier. So here we have that really nice mashed together butter, essentially a compound butter, and all of this is going to completely cover that roast. So what we're gonna do is just start on the bottom. You gotta get dirty, right? You can certainly use a pair of gloves, but you wanna mash it into the meat, right? You wanna actually completely...
Notice he said this is the bottom because we're gonna cook that fat cap up.
Exactly. So you can see how nice and evenly distributed that is, right? We're gonna flip it over and then just kind of continue. We're gonna use all this butter, whether or not you want to, you've got to put it all on there. Don't worry, a lot of it's gonna cook away, but when it does cook away, it's actually going to leave that crust of herb and salt as well as garlic.
This is a great way to get those herbs to stay on. You know, I've always struggled to get everything to stay on. They want to run off.
Right.
Man, we should have had a chef sooner. Who knew?
All this gets massaged into the meat. And then I've got another little secret for you. What we're gonna do is actually put this onto a resting rack of sorts, right? So my resting rack is actually edible. So what we're gonna do is go on to a pan of cut potatoes. All right, so you can certainly use a metal roasting rack or resting rack, but what I actually prefer is use something that I can eat later. So the idea here is, of course, once it goes into the oven, it's gonna sit in the oven for a little while, and when it comes out, it is going to be completely edible. You get to snack on the potatoes. They're gonna taste like meat and butter and herbs and garlic. And awesome.
Horrible. Oh man! So you know you're the guy cooking the roast. You get the potato treats, and then you get the meat that's between the bones, the finger meat. That's your treat. That's what you get to treat yourself before your guests get to eat. So that's awesome.
All right, so let's get this into a 500-degree oven for about 5 minutes per pound. Again, we started with about a 4-pound roast. We're going 5 minutes per pound, so we're going to go with 20 to 25 minutes, depending on whether or not it's bone in, depending on your oven. Are you going convection or are you not? And we can talk more about that in the details. So let's also talk about our thermometer.
So you're worried about overcooking your meat. You're like, hey man, Matt, what if I'm cooking a 7-bone roast? You guys are telling me how to cook a 3-bone, or I'm cooking a 2-bone roast. So what we sell at the local yokel are these handy dandy remote thermometers. So it's got a nice lead on it. So what you can do is you pop this in here right in the middle, stick that in, and then this got a magnet on it, or set on your counter. And what you do, you preset your temperature. So I'm gonna set this, I'm gonna temp this up. I wanna come out at 125. You know what, I want it to be 125. I wanna know when it's at 123. So just like magic, when this thermometer, you see I'm gonna hold it in my hand and warm it up. I've got the set side and I've got the side that's reading. So you see 60s coming up, 61. All right, so when that gets to 123, this is gonna go off just like an alarm clock. So you're not gonna overcook your roast. So buy yourself $20 worth of insurance here, all right? 25 bucks, you won't ruin your $200 piece of meat. Every house needs one of these. You need this just as a little safety blanket. You don't have to open the oven. What's going on? This cord goes right through your oven door. It's made for that. And put it in the oven, leave the door closed. This will let you know where you're at the whole time.
All right, guys, welcome back. So the moment of truth, we did pull our roast out of the oven. It went in for about 30 minutes at 500 degrees. And again, simple roast, butter, herbs, salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, 500 degrees, about 5 minutes per pound. And then what we do is we actually turn the oven off and leave the roast in the oven for about 2 hours. And what that does is it allows it to actually continue to cook, equalize in temperature, so you've got that really, really hot oven. The external parts of the meat are going to be super, super hot, and then it's going to want to regulate because you did pull it at room temperature. So it's going to sit in that oven, essentially resting for about 2 hours. So you're doing this right before your dinner party arrives. You allow it to rest, you pull it out. It's now been at room temp for about 10 minutes. So again, further on the resting, and then we are ready to carve. So first thing we're going to do is actually remove the string that was used to hold the whole thing together and allow it to help cook evenly, right? Don't forget to do that. You don't want to serve your guests any string. They can floss when they get home. All right, so again, pull all this out, expose that beautiful prime rib, and then the first thing we want to do is actually remove the bone, which I've already started to do right here. Get all this carved away to expose all that beautiful, juicy prime rib goodness, right? Look at that. I'm gonna lay it down, nice thick chunk. And that is a prime rib cooked to perfection. And you guys may remember the resting rack that we had earlier. These potatoes right here. This is exactly what I was talking about. You see this beautiful caramelized beef fat absorbed potato. Incredible. So that's been cooking a prime rib with the team here at Local Yokel. We do appreciate it and hope that you purchase one this year for your family. Thank you.